Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the 18-week mark of pregnancy. Let's start with the good news. Levi is looking great. So we did the anatomy scan and everything looks really, really good. A couple of things we couldn't see because Levi was just apparently not in the mood, was, turning over whenever they were trying to see certain things. And so everything is looking good in general. They just need to visualize like a couple of small things. I do wonder if he's going to have a little bit of sass because he looked straight into the ultrasound, like as they had it on the side of my stomach. And he just like looks over and was like, and then rolls all the way over. I was like, is this a sign of something? So we're very thankful. And I mean, it really couldn't be better news. I mean, especially considering our history. And I really realized at a moment where I recognized how tense I was during that ultrasound. I mean, this is the week that is probably the hardest for us and for me in particular. I have never gotten to 19 weeks. So with our first pregnancy, my water broke. I think it was 18 weeks, 5 days. We have never gotten past that mark. And we are going to get past it. And I'm excited to hit 19 weeks. But I'm noticing, my body remembers. And I think spiritually speaking, you can have something sitting in your soul, your spirit, or your body, or all three. And for me, it's like, in general, honestly, there's been so much healing that I feel like my soul, my spirit, they're good, but my body remembers. And, with really difficult things like pregnancy loss, going into labor, all of these things, your body remembers, even if you're like, wait a minute, I'm all good. So that's kind of where I'm at. I realize that I am a little bit more sensitive too this week. Normally I can handle the obnoxious, insensitive pregnancy stories of, oh yeah, I went through this and I went through that. And it's like when you've had multiple losses and you've had a late loss and an early loss, like you don't want to add in anything into your imagination, especially in a sensitive, time. Because I'm not, honestly, for the longevity of this, I've actually been really good. I've had little moments and I feel like this week has been a little bit longer of a moment. I'm just more sensitive, but I just don't want to put myself around that. So I've had to kind of recognize, I'm not gonna, okay, she means well, or that person means well, but I'm gonna have to come over here. And sometimes I feel like that's easier to just sort of remove myself than having to explain to someone who's already pretty self-centered, how to be sensitive. Sometimes it's just not worth it, and I don't have the extra energy, and I don't apparently have the extra grace. So I just, when I find myself in that moment, I just have to walk away, because otherwise, it's going to build up. And, if you've been in that situation where someone is just kind of spewing stuff at you and you're like, okay, I can't, hold on, I'm hitting a threshold here. You're going to end up lashing out at somebody, or you're going to cuss somebody out, or you're going to say like, we don't want that. We're not doing it. I'm not doing it. I refuse. So I have had to kind of just walk away, and that has been helpful. I have also had to kind of be careful about what I'm seeing online. Sometimes it's just, again, most of the time I'm fine, but I have these little moments like this where I'm like, ooh, okay, I think let me just get to 19 weeks. And because I know I just feel a little bit stressed, and we're praying and we're, declaring, but the truth is, sometimes you have to wait a thing out, and it just is what it is. That being said, in the waiting, it's important, I believe, to remind myself, my husband is really good about this too, let's remember the truth about God. And that is how I've gotten through chronic pain in the past. That is how I've gotten through, surviving miscarriage. That's how I have, gotten through growing up in an abusive situation, and it's just kind of like the truth about God outweighs anything fear could ever whisper. And I think that is really, really important because we really forget so easily. There are appointed times to press through spiritually and to really go, no, we're going to continue. And really, hopefully we're always pressing in. But sometimes there are situations where we really need to not just like physically rest, because obviously in pregnancy, there are going to be times we just have to rest. But there are times when we think we have to like push through with our own strength. And so for example, if I did not take it easy on myself and remove myself out of certain situations from certain people, and listen, they mean well, they really do. They're not aware. But it's better for me to, okay, I'm actually going to come over here. And if I am just kind of monitoring what I'm taking in on social media and that sort of thing, that I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. I mean, that to me was like a very clear Holy Spirit. Hey, you can't just push through. And I think so many times there are those of us who we do want to press through. I don't want to, I'm not allowing fear to get to me. And, but in that, I do need to guard myself. And my husband's been really good about that too. Just being very like, no. And so I think sometimes we get that mixed up where we think we just need to press through and force a thing. No, you don't. Don't put yourself around people who are insensitive. If you're not in a good place, don't do that, because it sets you up for disaster. And then if you haven't been supplied the grace, because you're not even supposed to be in that situation, it's a disaster. So this is like just a reminder for all of us. If you were in a sensitive place, pregnancy after loss, and really any spiritual situation, don't put yourself in a situation where you may want to lash out. And I know we can't always know, but good and well when somebody is insensitive and probably just a little bit prickly, you know what I mean? Don't put yourself in that situation. Anyway, all that to say, I am really thankful that it's just good news for Levi and that he's healthy. And I'm excited to get to 19 weeks. We've never been this far. And, it's exciting. I'm also, kind of grieving that I didn't get past this, with our first baby. But it's like at the same time, and it's like unexpected grief where I'm like, no, honestly, even before we got pregnant, like I've had so much peace, there with Jesus, like there's been enough time to grieve. But, grief doesn't make sense, and it isn't always linear. So it's just interesting having this kind of pop up and go, oh, well, that was sitting in my body and I didn't realize. So it's just funny the way that we're made. And, so I don't know, anybody who's experiencing that, you're not doing anything wrong spiritually. We are human. We need Jesus. We need God. We need the Holy Spirit. And otherwise, like if you're just perfect and you never have a problem, then you're dead. Oh, I forgot to mention, technically I am still placenta previa. So it has moved up though. It was completely covering my cervix. And so that was like, ooh, we don't want that, but it's still early enough that the placenta could move. And sure enough, it's been 2 weeks. It has actually started to move. So it's like kind of moving up. But it's still like slightly touching my cervix. So it's like, let's be on the safe side with this. And so we're hoping when we go back in a couple of weeks, it'll have moved up. So the hope is that it just moves all the way up and out of the way. So this is 18 weeks. I'm checking on all the plants I have forgotten, and miraculously, none of them are dead. Also, it is very cold all of a sudden in North Carolina. And guys, I just realized, oh no, probably gonna need a jacket.